My name is Megan, and I am on the admin team for the Sacramento Mandarins. I am here today with our awesome drum major team, who we are going to be interviewing virtually. Our first drum major interview is with Marcus, our most veteran member of the drum major team. Marcus, tell us a bit about yourself and how many years you've been marching with the Mandarin.
Yeah, so this 2020 would have been my fourth year as drum major with the Mandarins. All 4 years I've been a drum major. I am from El Dorado High School up in Northern California. I went there and I was drum major at my high school. I currently go to Sacramento State University, where I study music education and I play euphonium. And I'm in my senior year and I'm hoping to student teach next year. Hoping that everything moves forward as normal.
So I'm Matty Frierson. I'm 19 right now. I'm from Southern California. And I started with the Mandarins back in 2019 as the field assistant, which basically means that I ran the Met. And I didn't actually perform in the show for the summer, but I ran the Met and was on tour with the Corps. And then 2020 would have been my first year on a podium, but didn't happen.
Hey everyone, my name is Brendan Lockey. This past season for 2020 would have been my rookie year with the Mandarins. I grew up in San Diego and I went to Rancho Bernardo High School, and I'm currently attending UCLA as a music education major.
Yeah, so this will be my first year with the Mandarins, my first year auditioning as well, so that's always a plus. I'm a freshman at Fresno State. I'm a music education major. I play French horn. I think that's about it.
Hello, my name is Justin Nguyen. 2021 will be my first year in the Mandarins as the field assistant on the drum major team. A little bit more about myself. I'm from Sacramento, California. I'm currently studying at California State University, Sacramento, also known as Sacramento State. Specifically, I'm studying music education, concentration in clarinet. And yeah, that's a little bit about myself.
All right, tell us about your path and experience to becoming a drum major.
Yeah, so like I said, I was a drum major in high school. I was an assistant drum major my junior year, and then I became the head drum major at my high school my senior year. And the drum major before me actually was a drum major with the Mandarins, and that really pushed me to go and audition as a drum major. A little fun fact, I actually auditioned on trumpet in 2016, but I ended up just not being able to commit to the whole summer. And my visual skills of marching were not that great, so I felt probably is a bit better to maybe go down the leadership role, and I was really lucky and got it when I auditioned in 2017.
Yeah, so I started kind of, I think, how most people in high school start. They see this guy on the podium in front of them, they're conducting, and like, wow, that's so cool. And so I hyper-focused on conducting. And then kind of just as I developed and kind of grew, I realized I kind of want to focus on the leadership aspect and kind of teaching.
So we already talked a little bit about 2020. We know things did not go quite as planned with the season. What did you do in your summer without drum corps?
It was very different being without drum corps. I think not having kind of that regular schedule and the 4 meals a day was definitely very different. Personally, I spent a lot of time practicing my own instrument and trying to get better with that. I also did spend some time playing video games with friends because I knew that was probably one of the best ways that I could still stay socializing with other people without going out into big groups and being a risk.
A lot of video games, probably arguably too much video gaming, but I also got back into reading because it had been 6 months since I had really sat down and just read. So near the end of the summer, I read through a few books and I've been reading.
In the Mandarins member pages, we have a fitness page, and so after seeing all the other Mandarins exercising, I thought, let's get into exercising a little more. So I got a treadmill, and I pretty much ran every day this summer, as well as just tried to change it up a little bit, but I got more into fitness. And my peers, we inspired each other to kind of keep going with that through the fitness page.
So I took the summer to focus on myself in terms of my physical and mental well-being. I went out exercising more or less just like running like a mile or running with my dad.
All right, so can you tell us why you chose to audition with the Mandarins?
Yeah, so I remember I have some friends who've been in the Corps. I even have a high school marching instructor who I've actually, well, we're both in college together now, funnily enough. But they both spoke highly of the organization, and I saw them the last couple of years. You know, they've been making it up there, and I thought this would have been a great organization to at least try and be a part of. And luckily, I was chosen. But like, I think just nothing but good things.
Okay, so I chose audition at the Mandarins mainly because two reasons: the education and the high expectations of excellence. So what I mean by that is, I guess when I went to the Mandarins and auditioned, it didn't feel like intense and like cutthroat. I guess when you go to like audition or something, I felt more welcomed. I felt like I came to an audition camp not just to audition, but just to learn more things about myself, learn from others, different perspectives from the staff members who come from different parts of the United States and the world.
So what advice do you have for anyone who wants to audition for the drum major team at the Mandarins?
I think confidence is really big, but also just being really flexible too. Like there may be times where you're asked to do just something very different that may be unlike whatever program you came from. And just having a really good attitude towards whatever that is really, really helpful. We really like to see people who are hardworking and have kind of like they just go for it attitude. And also someone who can work well with others. That's like a really big thing. Is we as a drum major team spend a lot of time with just the few that we are over the summer. And it's really important that you can work well with everyone and that you can communicate well with everyone.
I'd say if you want to audition, just be prepared going into the audition. So they give you kind of an audition packet. And so make sure going to those auditions, it can be, nerve-wracking a little bit. But if you just prepare beforehand, look over the packet as much as possible and try to, memorize as much as possible. But just be prepared, and then hopefully you'll be less nervous in the actual audition. And then I think what's most important though is just be yourself and be you. Sounds kind of a stereotypical, but I really think it's important because everyone has a different style of leadership, and the staff at Mandarins is going to be able to see your style, and so you don't want to try to be someone else and do something that doesn't work, because if it doesn't work for you, then it's not going to help the Corps.
I think flexibility is a huge thing, and that's sort of to be a leader anywhere really, is you have to be flexible, because especially in drum corps, there are so many moving parts and so many different staff members that want different things. Because sometimes you're gonna be cleaning out a room, and sometimes you're gonna be conducting rehearsals. Sometimes you're gonna be running met, sprinting around the field for percussion, right? So you just have to be flexible and be ready to adapt and learn sort of what different staff members want from you and what roles you have to fill.
Okay, if you were going to march any other section in the Corps, what section would you choose and why?
I would choose to march tuba. One, because I can kind of play the tuba. I'm not amazing, but I can play it. And also, I think everyone in drum corps, is a little bit crazy, but in a good way. And the low brass, especially tubas, they're my type of crazy.
Hands down, mellophone. They have, in my opinion, the coolest parts, besides, of course, trumpet screamers, the stratosphere. But they have like mellow sustains, of course, like are awesome, and then all of the runs they have are just glorious.
All the brass sections are super good, so it's really hard to choose what I would go to. But honestly, I'd probably go with drumline, like maybe snare drum or tenors. In high school, I thought it was super important for the drum major to have a good rapport with the drumline, because that's where like the timing comes from. That's how you prevent tears, that kind of communication between drum majors and drumline. So I found myself hanging out with the drumline a lot, and I really liked the vibe. They all put in a lot of effort and always get the material done and learn the music, but they also throw in a couple laughs every once in a while. So I'd go with drumline for sure.
If I could march in any other section, I would be part of the battery, specifically the bass drum line. For me personally, I find it really interesting that how like 5 people can like split rhythms between like one line of rhythms between each other. I think it's super impressive and like super underrated what bass drummers do exactly. That they're playing a single part, but it's divided between 5 people. I think it's crazy how they can play like almost like complex rhythms like with 5 people together.
I would love to be in the battery. I don't think I'd really mind which instrument I'd play, but I think the battery is kind of a lot like the drum major team, where they're kind of like a smaller group and they have like a lot of camaraderie. There's also kind of like that focus on like tempo too. I know I would not be able to make the drum line, but if I had the opportunity, I would love to be like a snare drummer or a bass drummer.
So now we're going to have you answer some questions straight from Instagram. And I apologize, everybody out there, my mispronunciation of any usernames. All right, first Instagram question from 650 Cymbal Bass Bow Bag asked, how will auditions work this year?
The way auditions are working is that if you were a 2020 member and you have expressed that you want to be a 2021 member, your contract carries over. I do know that all the drum majors plan on returning again next year, but I would definitely expect for there to be still an experience camp for drum majors where you guys can go and experience what it's like to audition as if it were a regular audition season, and also just to get the experience being in front of a drum corps and how it all operates. And these are all really invaluable things that you can bring back to whatever programs that you may be leading. So it's going to be definitely different because of what's happened, but there's still a lot of opportunities for a lot of educational learning.
Do you have to march in the corps a year prior to being on the drum major team?
You do not actually. I just came audition that they offer positions if you want to be a drum major on the team. I just auditioned out of like maybe I'll get on the team, but also learning more about what's like being a DCI drum major.
I really enjoy the Mandarins because they had open auditions for drum major, which means they don't just pick from within the corps. And so I like how they just look for the best leader and the best people with the skill set for the team and who can, collaborate well with the other drum majors. And that it may mean from within the corps, it may mean from outside the corps.
That concludes the Instagram questions, and I just have a bonus question for myself. I see you have a cat tree behind you.
Yes.
Can you tell us your cat's name?
So I have always been terrible at naming things, just terrible. So my cat, he does not have a name. He is just the cat or kitty. But yeah, he's great.
That's okay. I mean, he sounds like he has a lot of personality and awesome.